The sections of grabbing the nest that's expanding and fanning the flames of the evil they're planning. Outlandish assumptions and biased conclusions, immersed in a world full of lies and delusions. What would you do if you pull back the curtain and saw who's controlling the scenes? Are you certain your version of truth is not an illusion of hip-hop propaganda confusion? What would you do if you pull back the curtain and saw who's controlling the scenes? Are you certain your version of truth is not an illusion of hip-hop propaganda confusion? Examine and study the entire picture and every ingredient inside the mixture. Then ask yourself, which of the sides are you choosing? Have you bought into lies or the things you're assuming? What type of role in the game are you playing? And can you explain anything that you're claiming? What's fact from fiction is the division of light from the darkness. Make your decision. If you have wisdom, then make it your mission to seek out the truth, improve your condition. Without a foundation, what's your solution? A floundering fish out of water like sushi. Assuming you're searching for something that's certain, but not even certainly sure you're a person. If life's an illusion that cannot be proven, then why would you trust your own mind for solutions? What would you do if you pulled back the curtain and saw who's controlling the scenes? Are you certain your version of truth is not an illusion of hip-hop propaganda confusion? What would you do if you...
Satellite tracking continues.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Sorry we were running late. Technical errors. As I've always said, live stream's not my strong point, so that's the way it is. I actually played that song and started a conversation with Rose, and it was just between us, apparently. So you guys weren't there yet, but here you are.
Here we are again. Hello.
Turn my sound down here. Is that good? Okay. So, two things I wanted to start off with. I'm very excited because I got mugs and a couple of shirts. But the thing is the funny thing is the only reason I did it is because I wanted to drink out of it myself and then make my kids have them so they have to drink out of them just in their face kind of thing. And the shirts are for us, but I put it is on a store. But I had a video up. It was a funny video, I thought, just because I was excited. But then people were starting to think I'm promoting a store. I don't care. The first thing I'd like everyone to understand, and also I wish I had planned some fanfare music, but I hit 1,000 subs, and I'm super excited about that. So that was really cool.
That is awesome.
Thanks you all for wanting to listen to me ramble. And the thing is here's the thing about this channel. I have never done it because I wanted fame. I've never done it for money. I don't even realize why I started it. I did it because in my past life, I was in a production company studio for a while. I did this. I liked doing it. It was a small company. It was just me and one other. I'm getting audio feedback. You getting that?
No.
Okay, let me make sure. Is anyone else seeing his audio okay? If it is, I'll just keep piling through. So I guess I'm in the future, they'll say in a second.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm getting that. I
love that mug so much. It would make me smile every time if I had it, just because it's so funny that satellites look like ceiling fans, and the one that you have in your profile picture even has a little tug string. It's freaking ridiculous, and it would make me laugh to have one. I want one. How did you pick out the font for the CFM? Is that a Star Wars font?
Let's see. I'm gonna try these things. Yeah, it was like I said, we spent an afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. So maybe that'll take care of it.
Let me turn down my volume. Thank you for the suggestion, Brian. Maybe if I turn down my volume, it will be better. But you have to say something so I know.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, I can still hear you. It's low. Okay. If I was in the audience, I would want it to be louder, but the show must go on.
Okay.
Hopefully this is better.
Well,
West Texas says there's not enough feedback to be bothering, but Melanie West says echo. So
all right. So here's the thing. So there is a store up. You can look for it. It's on my site. Whatever. If you want a mug, I think what do we make, like $5 or something. The stuff's kind of expensive. Okay, how's that for advertising? But I just wanted to make it, and they make it for you, so you don't have to mess with it, and I like it. So, anyways, enough said about that. But I didn't do this channel because I like it better this way. I'll do that in a minute since there's no feedback. I didn't do this channel for that. I didn't do it for any of those reasons. Mostly I did it, like I said, I worked at a small company. It was just me and one other dude. And we did all of it. We did the video shooting, we did the editing, we did the sound mixing. It was super fun. But doing that, I was able to, when I had my store, I'd make my own commercials and do stuff with green screens all the time and had a blast with it. I've got some where I'm Superman or Indiana Jones, and I had a fun with it. So fast forwarding to this, it's real easy for me to sit in front of a camera and say silly things, but I felt I could do it and somehow bring some truth to people that I was experiencing. And it was either that or just keep talking to my wife. And I do that plenty. And it's funny, I got right when I quit work, I started watching Columbo because it was on every morning. And for some reason, I'd have to wake up even though I didn't have anywhere to go. And I'd watch it. And he talks about his wife constantly. You never meet her. And so then when I started doing this, people have been saying to me, because I bring her up all the time, but she's a huge influence in my life. And it's making me think like that, you know. I've even had people think that she didn't exist. Well, she's shown herself a few times now. But I honestly, people thought like there's this note that I keep near me that she wrote down to it's Revelation 3:15-10. And when I talked about it and I showed it, because there was a thing in it that changed. This it used to say, if you're neither hot nor cold, that I'm going to spit you out of my mouth. And in the King James, it now says spew. And so I brought that up, and people are questioning whether or not that's actually, they thought I wrote this and pretend I have a wife and whatever. And so it's like, it's just like kind of shocking to me. This isn't about that. If this channel goes away tomorrow, my life will still be the same. I'll miss everyone, but that's not what this has ever been about. So anyways, enough said about that. 1,000 subs. Thank you all. Thanks for this. I'm excited I can do this. Anybody wants one, they're there, but I don't care if you buy one. Not that I don't love you. So let's talk about space and NASA. I just felt that everyone's talking about the Kernani, and part of it, what it did is it knocked space, flat Earth, all of that out of what was happening. And so I think occasionally we need to talk about it, because there's people that are showing up that haven't been here 6 months ago or a year ago or a week ago. I'm relatively new to this community myself. What do I got? A channel started in, I think, February, January, somewhere in there. And so there's people like Brian and Karen been doing it, 10 years or better.
Yeah.
We talked to Russian Vids. I don't remember how many years he's been doing it. So it's just, I feel it's important to discuss that the biggest lie, it comes from NASA, and that's why they steal so much money from us. You think that they would be better at it, but they're not. And so let's see. I can hit some tabs here just to go over it. For people that aren't familiar with me and the reason that I'm named Ceiling Fan Man, it goes back. There's a video I even have on my channel. Hopefully I brought it up. One of these here. I had them all in order. Yeah. Okay. So that video that I just played, by the way, this was peroxide dioxide. I hope I said that right. I usually call them hydrogen peroxide because I can never remember. I'm not good at that.
Pyridoxine oxide.
There you go. Thank you. I'm still the only person that can't say it, I guess. But he knows I do. I love him. And
that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. And he made this for me. It's really cool. And I throw it in here and there because I really do think it's neat. I like it. But I was doing research because I was actually looking into satellites. And when I was doing it, I came across this video, which you can still find online. I think it is, let's see, it's back here. I put it up. Let's Let's see if I can.
He also made me something, but I have to put lyrics to it. But I like it so much that maybe I should just play it by itself sometime.
Yeah.
Because it's really good. It's very industrial, his style. It's really cool. I just wish I could come up with like a rap to go along with it. Maybe you could help me sometime.
Oh, me? Oh, or him?
I mean, you could help me come up with things to say to it, but I'll be the performer.
Oh, sure. Whatever you want to do. I'll do whatever you like. You know that, Rose. Okay. So here it's called the Atlas Agena rocket. Okay. And this was a rocket that dealt with these, what do you call it? Satellites that they were putting up, the Mariner series. And I was researching the Mariner series satellite, and I came across this footage, and it starts out just like this. And, this was on What Haven't You Seen? So if anybody wants, they can look at. That's right. I originally, I think, found it, and you can see. And the thing that just freaked me out as I was figuring out this video and what happened, because it supposedly was one of the few times. Now, right here, it was one of the few times that the rocket collapsed on the pad and so forth. But if you've noticed, and I'll back it up. But no one's ever discussed this on any NASA or anybody that does a breakdown on this. The fact that here's a white rocket and then a flash. There it is, still white. And now it's a balloon. So at what point does the rocket go from this to this? If this is live footage. Was there a skin over it that they had to peel off before they shoot it into space? Did we miss that during the flash? You there? Mike showing it? I forget.
Sorry, my mouse. I put up the volume and muted myself so I can really hear what you're saying.
Okay, but
wow. All right, now let me just play devil's advocate. Do it one more time. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Is it a change in the... No, there's no explanation. I was going to say, like, the light hitting it is now reflecting it from a different direction, but that would make sense because it's literally a second. The sun didn't move it that much in a second to make it light up differently, unless there's some kind of other light source that's making it... No, I can't figure it out in my head. I'm a bad devil.
So now... Then once I saw that, and I was like, "What in the hell's going on?"
Watch. And it's bent. Do you see where it's bent?
Yeah. Now watch. To me, it falls apart and looks just like a balloon. If it's a water balloon, this is what it would look like in slow motion. And then all of this is supposed to be kerosene. It never ignites. It just splashes away.
What? It's bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. Even if I saw that without being aware of things, this particular footage doesn't make any sense. If I saw this in high school, I would definitely be questioning it and say, that doesn't look right.
I found this guy doing a little, here, I guess I'll speed it up so I don't get anyone pissed at me. Let's see. Is that enough, I guess? Let's see. He's talking about it, but he doesn't address the fact that the jump cut happens and then it turns into a balloon. He never mentions that. It's like, how do you not see this? I don't understand how anyone doesn't see.
Rocket ever imploded? Well, as it happens, yes, they have. This is an Atlas D Agena. That means it's an Atlas rocket with an Agena second stage. During fueling of this rocket, they had an issue which led to the...
I don't understand.
...oxygen tank on the first stage. And the whole rocket essentially imploded because the pressure inside those tanks is what kept the rocket...
Was it supposed to do that?
No.
As light as possible, and used balloon tanks. That is tanks that got their rigidity by...
So they could just say it was a failed attempt at something.
Yeah, they also mentioned it has balloon tanks. I thought that's really funny. You know, they put it right in your face. Balloons. I mean, that's what I even said it looked like. There's... On that one video that I have, I have so many tabs, I'm going to have to start piling through them. But that's where I found this gal. And you know, where it's shrinking up. It's very similar look to me as to this.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally looks like pieces of a balloon coming off. Look at this. It's floating and stuff. You're telling me that's metal that floats down like this and breaks apart, and this isn't just
Yeah.
like water or something, that it doesn't explode? Why doesn't it explode? It's kerosene, for goodness sake. So
Wow. And that was in slow motion, right?
which one? Both of them, the balloon and the thing. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Mariner program, it was a bunch of satellite programs. Here, I'll stop this for a second. Mariner was a bunch of satellite programs, starts that I remember, 6, 7, 8, 9. My avatar is the Mariner 9, which to me was just the most ridiculous, because as
Yes.
you can see, I mean, it has the chain right there. That's what Brian, I think, or Karen pointed out. And I used to make the joke so you could see the stars at night. That's all I could think of, because it was just kind of, oh, sorry. I turned you back on as you're taking a huge drink. But yeah, it was like, it's so ridiculous. And if you look at all of them, the Mariner 6, 7, they all look like ceiling fans. And
Yeah.
the program, I mean, it's millions and millions of dollars back then. And so the one that exploded then, I'm going to bring up Mariner satellites.
Is there a mainstream explanation for why they're designed to look like ceiling fans?
Not that I've found.
Is there a scientific explanation for why that would be the best way to have them hang out in the vacuum of space?
Right? Maybe. I would think that makes sense, but I haven't found it yet. If somebody ever finds it, please pass it on to me. But
We'll have to ask Neil my ass Tyson.
I like the name. That's funny. But look at these. I mean, come on. This is what this program looked like. You know, this was the early days of NASA, so you know they were still trying to make them look less like ceiling fans. I mean, here's mine.
They look very beautiful.
Amazing. It's just incredible. And so yeah, supposedly the one that blew up was one of these guys. And that rocket, they able to save the payload of the satellite that was going to Mars. And there's 2 people that did it. I really get sick of trying to learn the fake history, but this 2 people that figured out it was going to collapse somehow were able to push some fail safe and magically, I think they energized the satellite out of the thing as I don't even understand the freaking story. You guys can read it on Wikipedia or one of those wonderful news sources, but they saved it. And so now those 2 people, they're named. There's a crater, I guess, named, or a place on Mars that are named after these 2 wonderful people that pretended to save the satellite so they go on another program. And eventually, back in the 70s, when these all flew around, you can also read that they actually discovered proof of water on Mars. And what's weird about that is my entire life up until maybe about 5 years ago, I didn't think we ever had done that. But now you can find stories going back literally 50 years or whatever that say, oh yeah, we already knew that, you know? So anybody that's not into this yet, that doesn't understand, all of these pictures we get, they're all cartoons, they're all CGI, even mine. I mean, if anybody's believing these, hopefully this can be shared, and people that aren't familiar with it. And I'm not trying to like say, here, I'm going to show you this, here, I'm going to show you this, because you got to look into this yourself, because once you do, it's really ridiculous.
It really, really is. Once you look into it, and that's all it takes. People who act like it's this obscure topic. Oh, I need to, crunch the numbers. Oh, I really need to look into it, as if they need to put it off because it's going to take them weeks and weeks and weeks. Yeah, you can research this stuff for weeks and weeks and weeks and keep learning, but it really doesn't take that long to take a few minutes to look at maybe something that your friend suggests, and something is seriously wrong, and the inconsistencies are just undeniable.
Yeah, because I got into flat Earth because I was debunking it. That's how a lot of people seem to get there. I've told before that I got falling down all these different rabbit holes, and I would believe in just about everything, but I would not look at flat Earth. That was just too ridiculous. But finally, I just said, fine, I'll just look at it just to get rid of it. And I got Karen's video, which is my path to flat Earth, and that one I couldn't believe it. I literally started sitting on the couch, and then I ended up was on the floor sitting down watching the end of it, and it changed my life. And so the same thing with all the things with NASA. The more I looked into it, the deeper I found. I mean, this one's ODD, so I know he'd be okay sharing it. It's a great channel. They have great music and also great videos. But
how does Hollywood brainwash you? Well, one way is like this. They begin their movies on a globe, and then they zoom in to whatever the first scene is. Real clever way to brainwash you in the very first scene of any movie you see. Universal Studios is so bad, they use this goddamn globe as their logo, as their intro to every single movie that they make. At the beginning of every single movie Universal makes, you're going to see the spinning globe logo. So it doesn't even matter what the movie's about. You're going to be brainwashed.
No video, real video of the real Earth spinning in space, which you'd all like to see, actually exists. This is what it showed. This is last year from the Discover satellite, the Epic camera. This is actually the dark side of the moon. Going past the Earth. There's the Earth spinning. And there's the dark side of the moon. The problem with that is the moon's supposed to be orbiting the Earth, not just flying straight past it. Your eyes aren't fooled. Yeah, you've got your own senses. Trust your senses. This is clearly CGI. But you go to NASA's website and they will claim this was taken from 1 million miles away from Earth by the Discover satellite. You'll notice also that the clouds don't really move. I mean, they move across, but they don't change, don't swirl, don't change direction. 5 hours, 3:50 to 8:45 is nearly 5 hours of time-lapse photography. Those clouds do not move at all. You've been my fault before.
so there's so many examples of that. That one was fascinating too because the moon actually wasn't even spinning.
Yeah, and it's going across. It's not wrapping around. It's just going across the screen. They didn't even try to make it look like it was orbiting the object.
Yeah.
The cartoon ball. Bizarre. The first time I saw that, I didn't even make the connection that it wasn't orbiting and it was just going across. But still, that moon doesn't look like the normal moon that we can see with our naked eye. It's absolutely insane. I never could accept that for a moment. I don't know how someone could. They've got to be so dedicated.
And the other thing is, at what point, I mean, if I can look up in the sky, it's so bright now. I mean, I don't remember as a kid seeing it in the sky all the time. Like, it's in the daytime too. And it's like, if the moon's so damn bright that I can see it from, 240,000 miles away, why does it not look like crazy bright when they were standing on it in all those Apollo missions? You know, at what point does it change? It's not so damn bright they can't see. I mean, there's so many things, and the size of it in different photos. I've got that in mind, but also to show you that they're still doing it. Everyone's hooked their cart around SpaceX because NASA lies. How about SpaceX? So you can still find this on the SpaceX website. It's the CRS 19, everything they love having the 19s on it. And to me, that used to can't remember shit, but whatever. It's on their website. You go 20 minutes in, and if you look right in here, I don't know how anyone can't see, there's a rat or a mouse that goes from right here and it runs over to here. And I don't know how you can see this. Here you go. I'll put the big cursor on it. There he goes. There's ears. There's a face. There's a tail. It's the most incredible mouse that can live in the vacuum of space. There he goes.
First stage had an on-time launch today at 12:29 p.m.
I mean, I've shown that to people, and they're like, "Oh, it's just part of the rocket coming off, or space debris."
Yeah, an optical illusion.
Optical illusion. There's nothing it could not possibly be what it looks like, a mouse, because that would mean they're actually not in space, and I don't want to lose my little cartoon ball. It's one of the hardest things. I found all these different green screen examples. And again, I could be covering territory everyone knows. That's all right. But you can see, you can do it with, because I used to do that. I still do it. I mean, that's what all these backgrounds are. It's silliness. And I do it on whatever the stupid $40 budget it was for me. But can you imagine what NASA and TV shows and stuff can do? And you can literally go from room to room with this technology. And then when you see it happening here, where his feet are missing, or this guy's face kind of disappears, you can see through it right there.
Is he holding a piece of cheese for that mouse?
And this guy freaking disappears.
Yeah, how can people keep explaining this away? Oh, it happens. It's just technology.
Yeah, because
just
like
perfectly making an image disappear, but not anything around it. It's just that the camera and the computer is smart enough to fuck up perfectly just the shape of the body as it's moving around a corner, but nothing else around it.
Yeah, like this. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There I go.
Oh, no. Oh.
And this is a free program with a, like I said, like a $40 setup behind me. I mean, it's the same stuff. It's so ridiculous. Sorry to burst everyone's bubble. I'm actually not in space. But you know, actually,
no, you deceived me. I trusted you.
I know you trusted me. But you know, I did that as a goof during all that Chaz Razzmatazz stuff. And I had a couple shows where I broadcasted from there, thinking everyone would think it was a joke. But it turned out there was people that really believed me, and I didn't mean that, you know. But I was, you know me, if you ever watch anything I do, you can totally see the dripping sarcasm about the situation. It's obvious I wasn't there any more than the CNN people were at any of those things that they do. But so where was I? Let's see if we can pull this back up here. How do I do this? I feel like I've got a bunch of screens open now. Here we are. This one. No, this one. There we go. Okay. So let's see. What else do I have in here? We covered that. I think we're done there, especially with him. Oh yeah. So this ODD one, there's a lot of, I mean, I was pulling up different videos, which you can find all these usually online yourself, but he had a really good compilation. I'm not sure. Oh, this one's iRabbit. I'm sorry. iRabbit T. This person had a very good compilation. I mean, look, appearing and disappearing fingers, which was really cool. And then he's showing you, or someone is, he puts this compilation, how easy it is on just regular stuff that you can use today, that any one of us can purchase right off of Amazon, which is the only store open nowadays.
Yeah, or the only one that will let you use it without suffocating yourself and depriving yourself of oxygen.
The government approved, I should say. But it's the same.
Yeah, it's making us closer to being in space down here because there's less oxygen.
Exactly. I love it. That's funny. So here you got these two idiots, astronauts, and this astronaut. They have contact lenses, and again, you can research all this, at least, you know, on the weirdo channels, but there's
augmented reality.
Yeah, you can put for augmented reality, you can put in these contact lenses. So then you see what you're supposed to see that's been added in CGI. Just like this idiot here, he actually sees something floating here and he picks it up and puts it on the shelf. Only the camera forgot to be turned on for it for us. And so we don't even see it. So he's just doing this like really weird motion for no reason whatsoever. And then when you look at him, because I even zoom in on they zoom in on this guy's face, you can see he's actually watching something.
Yep. He's just double checking to make sure it's all okay.
Right, because he's seeing it, whatever it is, in his eyeballs on the screen. He thinks he's grabbing the thing, but it's not there.
Yeah, it's just kind of like how we talk to each other here on the stream, but then you could see our eyes move over to look at the chat.
Yep. So, and this is, again, just technology that you can do yourselves at home, and they have way more money than we do. I mean, they took this and they completely eliminate it, and by the time they bring the quality back up, like, you'll start to see a little bit, but not much. But you can see how you can remove things in real time and make 3D models out of it. And that's how you get stuff like this. And that was something too. This, again, you can find this broadcast over the air through NASA, and this thing suddenly changed into the computer program. And again, I didn't edit that, neither did this person. It glitched out. And they have these glitches occasionally. And my favorite glitch of all time is this one. And people have tried to explain this away by saying, oh, there was a problem with the feed from the ISS. The problem is
only on the people.
Right. I've done this technology, and other people have, and you can't just have just certain things glitch out like the people unless they're on a different layer than the background behind them. And here they go into the alternate reality. That doesn't work. That does not work. So yeah, the farther I went down this, the more. I mean, here's another great one. Just like that technology you were just watching, where you can isolate something that's there and make it disappear. They messed up. This guy's clearly on a harness that they forgot to remove as he swings by like he's in space.
It's just so bizarre.
The hardest part for me to take in is not only are they bad at it, but with all the money, it's like they're so freaking cheap. They just want to keep their budget so low that they can just use the rest of the money for whatever they want. Couldn't they throw a few more bucks at this? I mean, I saw Gravity. It's an incredible movie, and they did it with way less money than what NASA gets. But it's just the low budgetness of it. And here's that same guy faking it. Let's see. That's a good one. But there's constant where, like, their arms and their hands just vanish as they're talking. I mean, these are all glitches that you can't get just in saying it's because they're in space.
Yeah, and what's up with those jerseys, those sports jerseys? Isn't it true that it costs a lot of money just to bring up a couple pounds of anything, and for them to just bring up extra shit that they don't need?
Yeah, I think it's
so unlikely. Oh, and really, like, when they were getting ready to go up there into the ISS, was someone just like, oh, but don't forget to bring those jerseys for that one day in the future when it's going to be really clever and fun for everyone to see you wearing them.
Yeah,
of all things that they could be doing.
This guy totally glitches out, but you're absolutely right, because I actually have a little bit of this. I was going to talk about space, as far as how much space they have in these machines and rockets and stuff, because we're to believe that back in the Apollo missions that they're bringing up golf clubs and cars, and it was like a day at the beach or something. It was like some country club, like they have only so much time. They're on the moon, and now they're jumping around and golfing and stuff. And the thing is, they never really did anything super athletic, which was really funny. I mean, their jumps, you put it at regular time, it just looks like a couple of dudes just jumping like barely. I mean, they couldn't jump. I don't want to get racial, but they couldn't. And they only go up like a foot. Whereas I remember, on moon discussions, it was going to be like, oh, wait, you can jump and be careful that you end up flying away, not making it back. But they don't. Oh, this guy. Totally, yeah, they have time to do this kind of stuff. It's like, what is going on?
What are they? Yeah, it's so frustrating. It's really maddening that people could buy into this shit. But here, this is why I think they do this stuff. They have them wear the masks and the gorilla suits and the sports stuff
Your
because
audio's
they
cutting
want
again. Something's going on with your audio. I'll put on my headphones.
you to. Your audio is messed up too, but I figured it was okay because no one else said anything. So as long as no one else is complaining, then maybe you should just deal with it at CFM.
All right, I will. All right, keep talking. Sorry, go on.
I think that they do it because they want to make people smile and feel like they're in on some kind of joke, because when you make people laugh, they feel closer. And that way they feel like they can trust them more. Oh, these people are so fun. I feel close to them. They would never lie to me.
Yeah.
I think it's just part of the brainwashing.
No, it is.
And distraction.
It is. And I think that's in human nature. We were brought up. Why shouldn't we be trusting in people? I mean, that's just the way that I was raised, and that's the way I'm always going to be. And we're going to get lied to, and we're going to get deceived. And it's just, I guess, part of growing. But, people are saying that we shouldn't believe in anything. And maybe sometimes that's true. Maybe that when it comes to things you see on this TV screen, this computer monitor, this phone, they shouldn't be believed. They shouldn't. Anything I say, you should research and look into. I'm not here to deceive people, but some people might perceive that as such. And I do believe that I'm still going to live my life in believing in people. That's the teachings I'm learning from Jesus. I'm not going to change that. I just will continue to make mistakes, be disappointed, and learn from it and grow. And that's all we can do. So
Exactly. I couldn't say that better myself. I appreciate the lessons I get out of my mistakes. I really am trying not to make the same mistakes over and over again. But it's all information, and it's all revealing about the reality that we're living in. People can be very disappointing. People can be liars, deceivers, but there are good people out there, and we can be good people. If we focus on ourselves and try to be a good person, it makes a difference. It puts that positive energy out into the universe. It really does.
Yeah. So going back to putting what they can put inside these lunar module things. Let me pull this one up. I had to look for it. Okay. I think it's this one here. One of these. Okay. So hopefully I'm sure. I never know this stuff if I'm sure. It looks like I am. Okay. So this is the lunar module that that went up. And as you can see, the only area really the livable space. Let's see, there's parachutes and stuff here, docking mechanism. So it's basically going to be right in this little area here. All of this says there are helium tanks and controls and coils and whatever. So I guess my question is, when you look at the rocket, and I think I have this one bigger. Yeah, it's on this one. Somewhere here. Here we go. Okay. So here's the Saturn V. And you can see here's the lunar module. So where was the car? Where was all the extra stuff? Because all this stuff goes away. This all gets just dropped away, blown up, whatever. The only thing left is this. And you're telling me that, they got this car in there somewhere, smacked in there. And of course, they had their golf clubs and all that. I mean, look at the size of this compared to now you got to put this guy, another guy, and this thing, and they have the flags and the golf clubs and blah, blah, blah.
Very, very well framed up, just like Kubrick would have wanted.
Right?
impeccable lighting too. You can just see everything from that angle. Everything that one would want to see from that angle is perfectly lit in the way that it's artistry. Go
Right?
NASA.
Yeah, apparently there is no dark side of the moon, as they say. And if you look at this,
Right.
when you watch this, it's funny. People take these or you can do it yourself, and you can speed it up, and it just looks like a dude driving around in a dune buggy. And the sand's even being kicked up, and it doesn't fly on forever. It goes up and falls right back down, just like it would if you were here on Earth. So, and you can do all kinds of research if you haven't already. I mean, these things just look like ridiculous paper mache projects when you look at the HD pictures that are come out. And the fact that there's like tire tracks and stuff that don't line up to where the thing drove, and I mean this one does, but you'll find them. And then when they are blasting down, the actual foot pads, they're just completely clean. There's no dust inside it or whatever. The thrust on this, I mean, I don't know if this one will even blow up big enough, but some of these pictures, they just look ridiculous.
Yeah.
That looks airtight.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Airtight.
It looks like one of those sheds that you can buy and put in your backyard.
Yeah. Yeah, I have this on top of my chicken coop. It protects it from the rain, this stuff. And that's tin foil, obviously. And then I don't even know, a horn, whatever these are. I mean, look at this. No matter where you see this angle, you see this moon is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And this was a good one too. Someone mentioned this, and I hadn't heard this recently. Where are these mountains? Because when I look at the moon, everything looks like craters. But suddenly I see this mountain range appearing in different things. So,
Oh, it's just a matter of perspective. You're too far away to see them.
or the fact that this guy's completely well lit. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. It's just.
And why do their legs look like they can't bend in any picture?
Yeah. And the fact that he has to step out to an environment that could kill him at any moment if he fell, ripped his suit, whatever, right? He's got to step out backwards to a ladder he can't even see. And then they also have like cords and stuff going over the ladder. I think there's another one down here where he's stepping right there. That's just doesn't make sense. And if you look at the ISS, and they got wires sticking out everywhere, like there's no electrical contractor would agree to anything on the ISS. There's just stuff everywhere. And
well,
now
that's what makes them heroes. They're such heroes for putting themselves at risk.
Yes, you're right. What was I thinking?
How dare you?
Oh, look at this one. This one's full of stars. And that's the other thing they can't get to connect. Sometimes you can see tons of stars, sometimes you can't. If you go back to the original 3 guys that landed on the moon, they can't even get their story straight. They don't even remember seeing stars. And then you talk to some of the new ISS guys, they see all the stars and the planets. Doesn't matter if it's day or night. I mean, they can never even get their story straight.
Yeah, so sometimes there's no stars. Sometimes they're the most beautiful, brightest things you ever did see. But no one could take one of those amazing cameras and just point it out the window.
I mean, don't you start to feel ridiculous when you realize you believe this? I mean, look at that thing. I feel like such an idiot that I actually didn't ever doubt that.
I thought that some things didn't make sense, and I was just like, I guess I just don't get it. And then I realized, oh, okay. So I didn't need to get it.
It's not hard to find. You can go through any bunch of NASA photos and you'll find things. This thing's really funny. It's total stop motion. You can see it turning. Same technology in Jason the Argonauts and those Sinbad movies.
Gumby, like Gumby.
And then they're going to sit in this situation in some of these shuttle missions and stuff. Like these things, I think it took 3 days supposedly to get to the moon. So that's going to smell real good in there. I don't know if you've people in the chat have ever sat like in an airplane for more than 5 hours, but to sit for days on a time, it's just complete nonsense.
And nowhere to lay down.
No, look at that capsule.
You can't take a nap.
And then so let's see what else did I have in here. I had that's another cool thing. These are rocket launches. You can't find a rocket launch that doesn't do an arc. And I know that the round earth ball lovers will say, "Oh, that's because it's arcing over into space and now it's following the." Okay, yeah, whatever. I did see a video where a little kid just says, "Hey, it looks like it's crashing," and they all shut him up. So it's like the emperor has no clothes. It's kind of like their Kanani thing going on now. Something so simple with your eyes you can see is a lie. People don't want to admit it. But let's see. So we got through that. Hopefully we're all doing well. I haven't looked at the chat. You can say hello to everyone.
All the cool kids are here. Sure,
They
I'll
are.
say hello to everyone.
Love
Hey,
that.
Elizabeth, Marlo, how's it going? Slightly Stacy, hey. We got Fam in the house. Pyridoxine Oxide, Blue Bottle Bunny Farm, Sticks of TNT, Awesome Austin. Hello, my friend. You were there on my first YouTube video ever. Singe Man, Tommy Paint,
Okay.
Melanie West.
So here's one, Rose. Look at this.
Go ahead.
So I found the evolution of spacesuits. It goes from 35 all the way to current. And the thing is in the timeline that I'm looking at, this is what spacesuits were like. I mean, they were pretty much stiff, very immovable kind of stuff. And then you come across this first moonwalk, America's first moonwalk. And the coolest thing
this is ridiculous.
if you watch this guy right here, he does something that's impossible. He actually turns his head and waves to us. Now that's not possible with suits. And the thing is as other people have said, this awakening process, it started with the nerds. And thank God for them, because they're the ones that'll go back through all these old footages and find these little lovely nuggets of stop motion fakery that they've been doing for years and nobody cared to even notice it. So I gotta get him to do it again. I love it. Wait, where is he? He's right
I know,
there.
it's so crazy. It is so embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed for the people who actually will try to make excuses for this crap.
And I was
If you look back at old sci-fi, pictures from novels, like the artist stuff from the sci-fi novels, it looks like they were trying to copy what was explained in the sci-fi books, like right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly they're trying to update it with the supposed technology. But the weird thing to me is that if you're going to change the suits, like, how are they still dealing with the same environment? If you're going to assume that those suits need to be that way in order to survive the environment, then why would they be able to change them? They'll argue it's because of the increase in technology. But if you actually look into the suits, I mean, there's just nothing going on with them. They're basically designed by Hollywood stage design people or costume designers.
Yeah, and some of them look like motorcycle helmets and stuff, but yeah, this video they went over a bunch of stuff which I thought was interesting, because they talk about the Van Allen belts, and the Van Allen belts are these bands of radiation. I think they had it in this video here, that are around the Earth, and they say multiple times that they're going to have to solve these issues before they go past these new missions. Well, 1969, they obviously already solved it, because the moon landing went through these. And another fascinating thing is you can watch, there's videos out there that have people that have interviewed the astronauts, and some of them didn't even realize they went through the Van Allen belts. And so they're worried about radiation that comes off of a microwave. They're worried if you get your mouth radio, what do you call it, the X-rayed at a dentist, and they put the giant things on you, and they even put signs up at all the airports that the stuff that you're standing in potentially or whatever. But these guys went through the Van Allen radiation belts and didn't even realize it, and everything was fine. So does that mean NASA planned for them or didn't plan for them? Because now their stories changed. I think last year they decided the moon is within our atmosphere. I don't even know how they figured that one. That's really cool. I mean, we're constantly told that we need to come up with proof on our side, and all they do is just keep changing things, and they just rewrite it, and everyone goes, okay, well, they're smarter than me because they have a degree. But how could you plan moon missions without discussing the Van Allen belts, knowing if you're going through it or not, or if the the atmosphere extends past the moon? None of that makes sense.
It makes no sense whatsoever. It drives me insane. And also, growing up, you think, oh, in order to be an astronaut, you have to be so smart. You have to just know how everything works in order to do it. And so it's funny to think that, like, if the mainstream narrative was correct, that they just weren't even aware of the environment that they were entering.
Yeah, how could you not? And I think, I think this guy was really good because somebody asked him a question, and he's the one that didn't even realize that he went through the Van Allen belts. Yeah, because they say that he realized, oh, yeah, okay, I guess we went through them. And then they asked if they have any effects. Like, no, I guess not. So, yeah. They don't even like school these people well with the lies, you know? It's kind of like all the false flag things. They just save money, and they don't get the best. Yeah, I mean, you can go through tons of these. There's so much fakery that's provable now. I can't imagine how anyone still believes in this. And I actually wrote in one of those. They had at the Griffith Observatory. I got to sit in one. And now that I realize that they never went to the moon, I probably was in this exact one.
Probably. I love the Griffith Observatory, though. It's a very beautiful place. And I went there for the first time as a flat earther with Jason in 2018. And oh my gosh, just going through the little museum part where they have all of the little dioramas and models and stuff. It's so ridiculous. And just walking around and seeing the people just bright-eyed, wide-eyed. Oh, wow, this is so beautiful. It's so frustrating. But we enjoyed the nice views and looking at it from a different perspective.
Right. Well, that's the way I look at it now, too. It's like all this. I love space. I mean, one of my favorite things was watching Star Trek with my dad, and I love Star Wars and all that stuff. I still can enjoy those movies if I ever cared to go back to it, because I know it's all fake now, along with everything else. I mean, I've got a video that I took of William Shatner where he's at a conference, and they asked him, like, what's the difference between what you do and real outer space flight or whatever, and he said they're the same. Science and science fiction are the same. So he was just putting it right out there. And I mean, the guy even looks like he disappears. And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
They
look, he's pretty transparent.
Yeah.
He looks transparent.
Yeah, just like I did with my green screen. And that's the other thing they did. They had the technology even for color back then. And what they did is they supposedly broadcast the moon landing, and they put it up on a projection screen. And then they invited the news camera companies to come in and film the projection screen.
The screen.
So by the time you had like 2 or 3 degradations, whatever that big word is, look at it, you can see through that guy just about. And it was such garbled mess. And there was no need for it. And then you can also look up the phone call that Nixon made. He called him from the White House with like 0 delay. And yet there's other times you'll see people on the ISS and they've got a 10-second delay or whatever. You can also figure out the batteries that were needed in the technology. There's no way you could have taken that to the moon to get the satellite bounces or whatever you would say that you could have done back in 1969. It's not possible. I can't even get cell service when I go camping. So whatever. And that's another funny thing. Why does my cell service get worse the higher I go away from the cell towers and the higher up I go towards the satellites? Shouldn't that make it like better service because I'm closer?
Well, they just aren't providing you service in that area because you need to pay for it if you want to use it on the plane, yada, yada. Or we select where the service is going in order to provide you with better service that isn't actually that good.
And also this video comes from a movie called A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, which is really good if you guys haven't seen it.
Right.
But
Bart Sabell.
yeah, they faked that moon to make it look like they were far away. And I don't know if she's got it in here, but they actually did it in a window. You'll have to find it on that video. But this is actually a cutout and the this is good too. They were actually saying they were somewhere far away, and they really weren't. Again, I'm not going to go over all these. You can find these. This one's on iRabbit T. You can look on ODD's got some stuff. There's a lot out there to find. But yeah, the whole thing with the satellites and the moon and the phone calls, I mean, none of it adds up. And then like the fact that they now they want to go to Mars, and it's the sequel. It's the Moon 2.0. The same people that stole all the money from you for the years of the moon, now they're going to do it with Mars. And they predicted program it by having the movie like The Martian and telling you we're going to Mars and SpaceX. And they're just doing it all over again. It's all just nonsense. Poppycock.
Total poppycock. Poppycock to the highest degree. And it's getting exponentially worse.
Yeah.
Mathematically. I can do a mathematical equation probably that would be better at describing the reality of the poppycock more than an equation would explain their fucking model.
Yeah, let's see what else. Where's this guy? I'm not sure this video I was still trying to figure out, because I think it's just these three guys, but then there's some guy shows up just his arm, and then they all look kind of shocked, like it shouldn't have been on camera, but maybe I'm reading into that. But there's, if it's not this one, there's other ones where you'll see there's stage hands.
Oh, is that it? Is that an arm?
Yeah, I don't know if that's supposed to be a guy on the space station or not, but where did he come from? He's in a different color.
Yeah, could
I don't know.
Be a dude.
Yeah, but there's plenty that you'll see of where, and there's a lot that go. Oh, this one's good because the shine of the glasses ends up in his eyebrows. So
ooh, that's a good find.
So whatever.
I wonder what the explanation for that would be. I'll have to ask around.
Yeah, people have shiny eyebrows, I guess, in space. In space, your eyebrows shine. So
No. I'm an expert on eyebrows. I should show you a picture of my grandpa's eyebrows. Everyone calls them caterpillars. I know. Because here's the thing. My grandfather's tombstone, as a joke, is supposed to say one more, because he's always with his camera making the whole family to stand together and say one more. So there's just endless pictures of the whole family taking pictures of each other, and there's no shiny eyebrows anywhere. And all of us have the same caterpillar genetics.
Yeah, so it's a lot of this.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
I just can't get over how blatant it is, and like we don't realize it. And then you can find a whole bunch.
Why does everyone do this? Why does everyone feel like they have to do this? Just as a rebel, if this was real and I was an astronaut, I would just stand there like this, just to be my own individual. Why does everyone have to be like?
And there's something about the way they hold their arms and stuff, because they're having to do something. Because they have multiple layers to this. Sometimes they're flying in those planes. They use zero G. Other times they're on a green screen. But that's the other thing. Besides the glitching out, a lot of times their hair, when they're not doing one of these flies or whatever, their hairs are just sprayed up. You can find entire channels about NASA hair and. Yeah, her hand's glitching out. That's the other thing too. I've watched this lady or some of these other ones, and they squirt water everywhere. Look at all this machinery and all these electronics and all that. You think that's a wise thing to just like have water flying through space in this area and get into this? I mean, you know how many times I've spilled beer? I mean, club soda on my keyboard, and I had to like.
Dude, this is what they train for. They are professionals. They've practiced a lot.
I keep forgetting that. So you keep
they can
reminding
catch
me.
They can catch the bubbles and push them away from the electronics, eat them, no problem.
Well, this guy's hands don't even move with his arms. That's cool. It's like it's not hard to find anymore. It's just constant. See, that's one of
she's
those things.
professional.
Yeah.
She is doing this as a professional. She went to college, okay?
Right.
And so she can make sure that those M&Ms don't get where they're not supposed to go.
This guy didn't graduate very well, I guess. So, but in any case, and you'll see tons of them where their harnesses mess up, and it's just nonstop. So
it is nonstop.
What it all means is just another way for them to hide where we actually live. Because if you don't know where you live, they do a lot of practicing underwater too, by the way, just so anybody doesn't know. They do a lot in underwater tanks.
Yeah, with green screens in the tanks.
Yeah, exactly. For no other reason, right? I'm sure. Oh, and that's the newest thing. Look into this. They also have ways of producing these kind of clouds. And if you've seen, there's tons of clouds now that to me, they come from the ground. And I believe there's a lot of places. There's a place near us in this one city has a paper mill, and just tons of smoke or cloud or whatever comes out of it. See, this is people on a 0G, and these are fakery on an ISS. Hair that moves, Bride of Frankenstein that doesn't do anything. And this is a good chance to
listen, man,
conspiracy.
dude, we got to wrap it up in a few minutes. I know that we started late, but I'm just giving you a little warning.
No problem. Let's do a wrap up. So hopefully we've done some new information for people. If it was interesting, we could do something like this again, or if you have a different idea, please let us know. I really enjoy doing any stream with Rose. She's an amazing person, and I appreciate everyone that came here today. And at the end of the day, all of this means they're trying to hide where we live. They're trying to hide your connection to God. If you get rid of the ball and you realize you live, I don't care. I don't want to fight what plane it looks like, what shape, but it's not what they say. And if you can figure that out and you find out that you're on a stationary surface, your life changes exponentially. So that's
yes. Absolutely. This has been a fantastic video. It's totally 101, and I'm pretty sure that most of the people here all know this stuff, but it's still so fun to look at. And this would be a perfect video for me to share with my friend Kira, who I'm planning on inviting onto a show with David. But she's so open-minded. I had such a great conversation with her. We hadn't talked in 10 years, and so I had no idea what to expect. I just played Christian Knapp's song where it said COVID's a lie, and I was afraid she'd be like, oh, let me get my mask on. This song scares me, and I didn't know if I would never talk to her again, and it went so well. And so this is so wonderful, and I just thank you. We want to do this like on a weekly basis, guys, and we talk on the phone and try to figure out topics and ideas. But if you guys have, it's like, oh, it would be cool for Ceiling Fan Man and Rose to talk about this, I'm sure we would be down, unless it's super weird.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, everyone, for your time. I hope everyone had a good time. And I don't know, can I play some? I'll try to do it. I'll play us out. But thank you all for coming. Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, everyone. Love you. Bye.
I can't play that because it's got music on it. So I'm just going to go out. I love you all. Have a good day. Okay, bye.